Hello everyone. Today's online biochemistry class is continuation of vitamins. So today's topic is on folic acid. It is also a water soluble vitamin. If you remember the classification of vitamins, which are classified as fat soluble and water soluble, the water soluble are further divided as B complex and non B complex vitamins. These B complex vitamins are sub classified as energy yielding vitamins and the hematopoietic vitamins. Folic acid and B12 belong to hematopoietic vitamins because they are also involved in the synthesis of RBCs. So folic acid is one of the water soluble hematopoietic vitamin which has got important functions in the body. So today's class, with the brief introduction about folic acid, it is also called as vitamin B9. The name of the folic acid comes from a Latin word called folia. The meaning of folia is leaf, and the primary source of folic acid is from green leafy vegetables. Folic acid plays an important role in 1-carbon metabolism and involved in DNA and RNA synthesis. Normal development of blood cells in the bone marrow also requires folic acid. Folic acid in the form of tetrahydrofolate, a coenzyme, is involved in various important biochemical reactions. So the biomedical importance, along with vitamin B12, it is involved in production of DNA and RNA, involved in proper brain function by involved in different myelination processes. Cells and tissues, the rapid growth of cells and tissues also require folic acid and B12. Along with that, it is involved in mental and emotional health. The deficiency of folic acid is more common in pregnant females, and the clinical manifestations can present in 3 different forms, that is megaloblastic anemia, neural tube defects in the fetus, and in the form of cardiovascular manifestations because of increased homocysteine levels. So manifestations are of 3 different types. The recommended dietary allowance of folic acid is 200 micrograms per day, and in pregnancy and lactation the allowance increases, or the demand of folic acid increases, and it is up to 400 micrograms per day. If it is not supplied in the required amount, it is associated with very devastating complications in the fetus, like different neural tube defects. What are those? We will see in further slides. And the sources of folic acid are mainly from green leafy vegetables, fruits, dairy products, egg, oranges, and broccoli. Overheating while cooking and repeated warming also destroys most of the folic acid in the food. Coming to the structure of folic acid, it is also called as steroyl glutamic acid because it is mainly consists of 3 components. That is, it has pteridine ring, it has PABA, that is para-amino benzoic acid, and glutamic acid. Pteridine ring along with PABA together forms steroic acid or steroyl. This steroic acid combines with glutamic acid and forms the compound folic acid. So because of these 3 components, it is also called as steroyl glutamic acid. The active form of folic acid is tetrahydrofolate or tetrahydrofolic acid. Coming to the absorption, the food which we consume contains folic acid in the form of polyglutamate, which has 3 to 7 glutamate residues. And these glutamate residues are cleaved by enzymes folate conjugate or hydrolases, and they are converted to monoglutamate form from the polyglutamate forms, and this monoglutamate is absorbed in the intestine, and in the mucosa of the intestine these folate monoglutamate is further reduced to tetrahydrofolate and also undergoes methylation to form N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, and N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate is the circulating active form of folic acid. So how actually this happens is, folic acid, by utilizing the enzyme dihydrofolate reductase gets converted to dihydrofolic acid. Folic acid, by utilizing the enzyme dihydrofolate reductase, gets converted to dihydrofolic acid, and this again with the help of dihydrofolate reductase enzyme, it gets converted to tetrahydrofolate. The significance of dihydrofolate reductase enzyme is that some of the commonly used anti-cancer drugs like methotrexate and aminoterine act on dihydrofolate reductase enzyme. So this is the significance of dihydrofolate reductase enzyme. And this reaction also requires two molecules of NADPH, and this NADPH is, and the source of NADPH is HMP pathway, if you remember. So this tetrahydrofolate is again formed to 5,10-methylene tetrahydrofolate using serine hydroxymethyl transferase enzyme requiring vitamin B6, and this reaction is reversible. Tetrahydrofolate will get converted to 5,10-methylene tetrahydrofolate, and this again can converted back to tetrahydrofolate using serine hydroxymethyl transferase enzyme with the help of vitamin B6. And during this the significance of 5,10-methylene tetrahydrofolate is that it is required for conversion of deoxyuridine monophosphate to deoxythymidylate monophosphate utilizing the enzyme thymidylate synthase. Once this thymidylate monophosphate is formed, it is involved in the synthesis of DNA. So folic acid in the form of 5,10-methylene tetrahydrofolate is involved in the synthesis of DNA by converting deoxyuridine monophosphate to deoxythymidylate monophosphate using the enzyme synthase. Further, this 5,10-methylene tetrahydrofolate will get converted to 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate using the enzyme methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase, and this 5,10-methyl tetrahydrofolate is the circulating form of folic acid. So the biochemical functions which folic acid carries out in the form of tetrahydrofolate, because the folic acid itself is biologically not active. So the active forms of folic acids are mainly tetrahydrofolate, N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, N5-N10-methylene tetrahydrofolate, N10-formyl tetrahydrofolate, and N5-formamino tetrahydrofolate. So these are the different active forms of folic acids which are involved in different important biological reactions in the body. So the biochemical functions which folic acid carries out is the important function. It is involved in 1-carbon metabolism. So this THF acts as an acceptor or donor of these 1-carbon units, mainly formyl and methylene in the form of formyl or methyl. What is this 1-carbon metabolism is? 1-carbon molecules are the one which can transfer 1-carbon units. 1-carbon molecules are the ones which can transfer 1-carbon unit. And this 1-carbon metabolism using folic acid is involved in different amino acid and nucleotide or nucleic acid metabolism. So this folic acid acts as an acceptor or donor of these 1-carbon units which are mainly supplied from different amino acids. So 1-carbon metabolism, brief about this is amino acid metabolism is important for this exchange of 1-carbon units. So 1-carbon fragments or units are methyl, hydroxymethyl, methylene, methinyl, formyl and formamino. These are the important 1-carbon groups or 1-carbon atoms which are involved in amino acid and nucleic acid metabolism. So this THF is involved in different 1-carbon metabolism. So how and why some of the important amino acids which are involved in this 1-carbon metabolism are glycine and tryptophan. they will act as donors of one carbon atoms. This will donate formate, and this formate gets combined with tetrahydrofolate and forms N5 formyl tetrahydrofolate, N10 formyl tetrahydrofolate. Glycine and tryptophan will donate one carbon unit and form formate, and this gets combined with tetrahydrofolate and forms N10 formyl tetrahydrofolate, and this is involved in the synthesis of second carbon of purine ring, and this is involved in so it forms RNA or involved in RNA synthesis, and this is also involved in the synthesis of formyl methionine, which is the initial step involved in the protein synthesis. So this is involved in the synthesis of RNA and proteins. The next amino acid is histidine. Histidine will get converted to FIGLU, formoaminoglutamic acid, and this will get converted to this will get combined with tetrahydrofolate and forms N5 formamino tetrahydrofolate, and this will form N5N10 methinyl tetrahydrofolate, and this is involved in the synthesis of 8th carbon atom of purine ring. One more importance or biomedical importance of this FIGLU is a test called FIGLU excretion test, which is used in the assessment of folic acid deficiency, which we will see in the further slide. And the next molecule or one carbon donor is serine, and this will get combined with tetrahydrofolate and forms N5N10 methylene tetrahydrofolate, and this is involved in the synthesis of thymidylate and involved in DNA synthesis. Next molecule is choline and betaine. They get also combined with tetrahydrofolate and forms N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. So, and this is the active circulating form of folic acid, and this is involved in synthesis of methionine from homocysteine and further in the methylation reactions. So these are the donors of one carbon units: glycine, tryptophan, histidine, serine, choline and betaine. These are the one carbon atoms: formate, N10 formyl tetrahydrofolate, N5N10 methinyl tetrahydrofolate, N5 formamino tetrahydrofolate, N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate, and these are the important compounds formed from this. So donors of one carbon units, these are the one carbon units which combine with tetrahydrofolate and involved in the synthesis of important metabolically and involved in the synthesis of biologically important compounds. So utilization of these compounds is synthesis of purines, that is C2 and C8, second carbon and 8th carbon of purine ring, involved in the synthesis of formyl methionine, that is initiation of protein synthesis, involved in the synthesis of glycine, that is from serine, and involved in the synthesis of pyrimidine nucleotide, and also it is involved in the synthesis of methionine from homocysteine. So the one carbon units serine, glycine, choline will form sources, and the one carbon molecule formed is methylene tetrahydrofolate and methyl, which is involved in methionine synthesis. Histidine, one carbon unit source, forms methinyl tetrahydrofolate, 8th carbon atom of purine ring, and lastly formate, which forms formyl tetrahydrofolate, second carbon of purine. So if you remember, the folic acid with the help of reductase enzyme forms dihydrofolate. Again with the help of reductase it forms tetrahydrofolate. With the help of transferase and B6 it forms 5,10 methylene tetrahydrofolate, and this is involved in the synthesis of deoxythymidylate monophosphate from uridyl monophosphate using synthase enzyme, and this is involved in DNA synthesis. This 5,10 methylene tetrahydrofolate will, utilizing the enzyme methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase, it forms 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, and this is the circulating form of folic acid. And this 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate is involved in methionine synthesis from homocysteine. The homocysteine undergoes methylation reaction and the methyl molecule is supplied from 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, and this requires methionine synthase enzyme and vitamin B12, and using B12 methionine synthase, the homocysteine will get converted to methionine, and the methyl donor here is 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, and this methionine undergoes again further methylation reaction and forms S-adenosine methionine, and this is involved in DNA methylation and other important functions. So in case of vitamin B12 deficiency, the homocysteine will not get converted to methionine, and also S5-methyl tetrahydrofolate is not utilized. So there is functional loss of folic acid. Even though it is present in sufficient amounts, it is not utilized for the synthesis of methionine because of deficiency of B12. This is the relationship between B12 and folic acid. In case of vitamin B12 deficiency, the methionine is also not synthesized, so there is accumulation of 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, and this is called as folate trap. That is accumulation of biologically active form of 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate because of vitamin B12 deficiency, and this is called as folate trap. It is basically the absence of vitamin B12 which is causing the functional loss of folic acid. Folate trap is commonly asked in the exam. So remember, even while treating patients with B12 and folic acid deficiency, we have to keep in mind this thing, folate trap. Folate trap is because of B12 deficiency, the biologically active form of 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate is not utilized in the synthesis of methionine. So to summarize the functions, it is involved in the synthesis of DNA and RNA. DNA by synthesizing thymidylate, and RNA by synthesizing 2nd and 8th carbon atoms of purine ring. It is in formation of thymidylate. It is involved in amino acid metabolism, that is in the conversion of serine to glycine, catabolism of glycine, and synthesis of methionine from homocysteine. It is associated with formation of choline and also in the synthesis of protein metabolism, that is it forms N-formyl methionine, which is the initiating factor for protein biosynthesis in the body. So coming to the deficiency manifestations, the most common cause is dietary deficiency. In case of pregnancy, the demand is increased. If it is not supplied, then it causes deficiency. And even in alcoholics, malnutrition because of malabsorption, overcooking and repeated heating also destroys the folic acid present in the food, and some drugs, methotrexate and some antibiotics which are called as folate antagonists, by inhibiting dihydrofolate reductase enzyme, and then the THF, the active form, is not formed. So all this will lead to folic acid deficiency. And I told earlier, the manifestations can be presented in 3 different forms: megaloblastic macrocytic anemia, neural tube defects, and coronary artery diseases. If you remember the vitamin B12 class, the question which was asked in the case study is, what are the causes for megaloblastic anemia? The one cause is vitamin B12, and the another common cause for megaloblastic anemia is folic acid. So these 2 deficiencies of vitamin, that is B12 and folic acid, will cause megaloblastic macrocytic anemia. So megaloblastic anemia, as I told, it is the increased size of RBCs. Folic acid, in the functions as we have seen, it provides necessary carbon groups which are required for the synthesis of purines and pyrimidines. So because of folic acid deficiency, there is impaired synthesis of DNA. So the proper maturation of RBCs in the bone marrow is affected. So this will lead to production of unusually large RBCs because the cell division is not happening properly. So the RBC maturation is affected in the bone marrow, so the size of the RBCs increases, and those are called as megaloblasts. And these abnormal RBCs or megaloblasts are will be destroyed by the spleen, and this results in anemia. Because of impaired DNA synthesis, the RBC maturation will not take place, and this leads to unusual large size of RBCs, and these abnormal RBCs will be destroyed by the spleen and causes anemia. And this is the characteristic of folate deficiency. And the next important manifestation of folic acid deficiency is neural tube defects. What are these neural tube defects? Neural tube defects are congenital malformations of central nervous system occurring because of improper or partial or complete failure in the closure of the neural tube during the embryogenesis in the initial 28 to 30 days of the conception. So neural tube defects are congenital anomalies associated with partial or failure in the partial or complete failure of these neural tubes during the embryogenesis. So folic acid plays an important role in the closure of these neural tubes, and it is involved in the methylation of the neurons. So once there is defect or deficiency in the folic acid, the closure of the neural plate will not take place during the embryogenesis. The methylation of the neurons will not be happening properly. So this leads to neural tube defects, and it can present in different forms like spina bifida, anencephaly, or encephalocele. Anencephaly is complete absence in the formation of the skull bone, and spina bifida is at the lumbosacral region. The neural plate will not be closed, so it can present in three different forms: spina bifida, anencephaly, or encephalocele. Next presentation is in the form of coronary artery diseases. If you remember, folic acid and B12 are involved in the synthesis of methionine from homocysteine. So if there is deficiency in the folic acid, the methyl group will not be donated, so the methylation of homocysteine will not take place. And even if there is vitamin B12, the synthesis of methionine will not happen from homocysteine. So there is more and more accumulation of this homocysteine in the body, and it may cause hyperhomocysteinemia and may also can present as hyperhomocystinuria. So this excessive amounts of homocysteines in the body are dangerous, because the increased levels of these homocysteines may get accumulated in the walls of the blood vessels, and this leads to oxidative reaction or oxidative stress in those vessels, and leads to synthesis of different cytokines, and these cytokines will lead to attraction of leukocytes and other things, will cause the inflammation in the blood vessels, and these later on will lead to accumulation of fat, plaque formation, and atherosclerosis. And if it continues, the patient may present with myocardial infarction. This is the reason how homocysteine is associated with coronary artery diseases. Increased levels of homocysteines will be deposited in the walls of the blood vessels, which initiates inflammatory process and further will lead to atherosclerosis. So the common presentations is macrocytic megaloblastic anemia in the fetus, neural tube defects if the deficiency of folic acid is more severe in the first trimester of the pregnancy, and the third presentation is maybe in the form of coronary artery diseases because of excessive accumulation of homocysteine. So there is improper methionine synthesis or decreased synthesis of methionine. So the methylation process is also hampered. So DNA methylation is also affected. So these are the manifestations. And coming to folate trap, as I said, because of cobalamin deficiency, the methionine reaction cannot take place. Because of this, the 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate will not be utilized, and this will be accumulated, because 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate is the donor for this methylation. So the synthesis of methionine is hampered and there is accumulation of homocysteine, and this folate is trapped, or the circulating active form is not utilized because of B12 deficiency, even if there is sufficient amount of folic acid in the body. So this is called as folate trap. Because of B12 deficiency, this 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate is not utilized. And also this 5-methyl tetrahydrate will get converted back to tetrahydrofolate simultaneously, and this tetrahydrofolate will get converted to 5,10-methylene tetrahydrofolate, and this is involved in synthesis of thymidylate. So because of this B12 deficiency, 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate is accumulated, and there is also no reversible synthesis of tetrahydrofolate and 5,10-methylene tetrahydrofolate. So there is deficiency of thymidylate levels in the body, and DNA synthesis is also hampered because of B12 deficiency, and that is why we will see some neurological manifestations in case of B12 deficiency and in folate trap. This is the biochemical basis for the symptoms of CNS in case of B12 and folate trap. So coming to the investigations part, in the serum the folate levels will be less, and normal range is up to 20 micrograms per deciliter. Second one is histidine loading test or FIGLU test. Histidine, if you remember the previous slide, will get converted to FIGLU, that is form-amino-glutamate, and the mechanism is histidine will get converted to FIGLU, and this FIGLU utilizing different enzymes will form glutamate, and also it is involved in the formation of form-amino tetrahydrofolate. So in case of folic acid deficiency, the glutamate will not be formed, and this form-amino glutamate is excreted in urine. So in case of folic acid deficiency, there will be excretion of FIGLU in the urine. So it is also called as histidine loading test or FIGLU excretion test. This is the biochemical basis. Histidine will get converted to FIGLU, and FIGLU will form glutamate using tetrahydrofolate. So in case of tetrahydrofolate deficiency, glutamate is not formed and FIGLU is excreted in urine. So this is how folic acid deficiency is investigated. Coming to the antagonist, folate antagonists, as I told, some anti-cancer drugs like methotrexate and aminoterine, they are called as folate antagonists because the structure of methotrexate and aminoterine are similar to folic acid, and by competitive inhibition they inhibit dihydrofolate reductase enzyme and blocks the formation of the active coenzyme form of folic acid, that is tetrahydrofolate. So once there is deficiency of tetrahydrofolate, there is impaired synthesis of DNA, and this reduces the cell division in the cancer cells. So these are used as anti-cancer drugs in the treatment of various malignancies. The mechanism is, since these drugs are structurally similar to folic acid, by competitive inhibition mechanism, they inhibit the enzyme dihydrofolate reductase. So the DNA synthesis is hampered. So once there is decreased DNA, the cell division is also reduced. The second one is antibacterial drugs or bactericidal agents, that is sulfonamides and trimethoprim. Sulfonamide is structurally similar to PABA, that is para-aminobenzoic acid, and these two, by competitive inhibition, they reduce the synthesis of tetrahydrofolate in the folic acid in the bacteria. So the cell division is halted. So these two are used as antibacterial agents, trimethoprim and sulfonamides. They also act by competitive inhibition because sulfonamides and trimethoprim are structurally similar to PABA. So they inhibit the DNA synthesis and cell division in the bacteria. So to summarize, it is a hematopoietic water-soluble vitamin involved in DNA RNA synthesis and RBC production, and most importantly involved in 1-carbon metabolism. Deficiency is more common in pregnancy and associated with different neural tube defects. There is one more term, that is folate trap, which happens because of B12 deficiency. And lab investigations in case of deficiency by estimation of serum folate levels by using CLIA method, and Figlu excretion test or histidine loading test. Folate antagonists like methotrexate and aminoterine are used as anti-cancer drugs, and sulfonamides are used as antibacterial agents. And the case study for this chapter is a 30-year-old pregnant lady came to OPD with complaints of breathlessness, weakness and smoothness of tongue. Lab investigation showed, peripheral smear showed macrocytic RBCs, complete blood count estimation showed low hemoglobin level, and urine was positive for Figlu. Ultrasound examination showed findings or signs of neural tube defects in the fetus. So what is your probable diagnosis? Mention the clinical manifestations seen with this deficiency of this compound, and mention the biochemical basis for the symptoms seen in this patient. This is all about folic acid. Thank you.